South Carolina in 2008 had the first primary in the South. It was a very good presidential primary. We were right after Iowa and New Hampshire. And my final choice is I already had like a short list in my head. It's kind of like, I felt like Gemini Clowney. You know, I was like a prize recruit. I just had my short list already. I was either going to support John Edwards or Barack Obama, and boy, am I glad I didn't support John Edwards. But Barack asked me, and usually I will tell you a little secret. A lot of times, especially in presidential politics, these endorsements are not necessarily just because, it's a lot of I believe in you, but a lot of times there are some benefits to these. It's more than access. Sometimes people get brought on as consultants and everything else if you ever look at paperwork. But I didn't want anything. I didn't want anything at all, except one small favor from Barack Obama. I said, I want you to come to Bamberg, Baltimore, Orangeburg, South Carolina. I want you to come to my district. I will support you. I will do anything. He named me co-chair of his state South Carolina Steering Committee, me and Inez Tenenbaum. And I got to travel the state. I campaigned in Ohio for him. I campaigned at college campuses across the country for him. And then I got a phone call. And they said, you know, the senator will you know, we're going to be in South Carolina. He reminded us of the promise he made to you. We're going to make it happen. Where do you want the president or the senator to come? And I said, well, let's do it in South Carolina State. It was the only place big enough. And they're like, okay, he'll be there, and we're going to bring some people down there. We're going to have a rally, and it's going to be unbelievable. So I'm geared up. You know, I drive down to South Carolina State. I have security. They usher me into this green room. We're sitting in the green room. I walk in the green room, and Kerry Washington's in there. You might know Kerry Washington.
Yes.
I mean, she's like unbelievably gorgeous. So I walk in, I'm like, man, did I just walk into heaven? I mean, where am I really? So we're talking back and forth, and then Chris Tucker comes in. So at this time, you have me, Kerry Washington, and Chris Tucker sitting there talking, and by this time, the scene is unbelievable because people are just throngs of people are coming in. They have us on a stage that is maybe 2 times the size of this in the center of a gymnasium, like at midcourt. And you have a little walkway from the locker room. Everything else are people, and all in the stands are people. And people are all in the doorways. I mean, literally, there's nowhere to go, and you don't see people. People have signs, they're chanting, they're falling over. I mean, it's amazing. And my friend Rick Wade says, I'm going to run to the airport real quick. I got to pick up somebody, and then we'll come back. So he goes to the airport, comes back, and he comes back with Usher. So at this time, you have me, Usher, Kerry Washington, and Chris Tucker. And we're sitting in this green room for about an hour, just talking. I know, the story is just like unbelievable, isn't it? I know, we're sitting in this green room for an hour, literally. And then they say, the senator's here, because he had been campaigning throughout the state. And they say, the senator's here, so it's showtime. And we get our, you hear this over here going to come and say, and Representative Bakari Sellers. And the crowd's going crazy, because it's my district, so everybody's going crazy. And I walk out, and I give about a 5-minute spiel, and I introduce Chris Tucker. And Chris Tucker introduces Kerry Washington, and everybody's giving their little 5-10-minute spiel. And Kerry Washington introduces Usher, and Usher gives his little 5 or 10-minute spiel. And then Usher introduces Barack Obama. And we were going to stand on stage while Barack gave his stump speech, but we couldn't, because you couldn't hear anything. It was the loudest. People were going crazy, crying, and then every politician, everybody who's in this business wants that one epic moment. They probably did. NCAA tournament, at the end of the tournament, they have one shining moment that they play with all the highlights from the tournament, and they just have snapshots. Everybody wants that one epic moment. So there's this picture, and it's I'm standing next to Barack Obama, and Chris Tucker's on my left, and then it's Usher and Kerry Washington, and we're waving. And we take this picture, and at that moment, I just remember what was going through my head. It was unbelievable that you had a kid from Denmark, South Carolina, who was just, at that moment, a part of history, and will forever be a part of history. And that, I think, is a tangible example that we all can understand, that if you do what you're supposed to do, and you dream just a little bit, God will put you in some places that you cannot imagine. I mean, I've met 4 presidents. I've been all across the country speaking. I got invited, I don't even know why they called me, but I'm going to speak at Stanford University in Palo Alto, as long as the tsunami stays away. What's this month? April 1st, 2nd. So you have all of these experiences. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what your home looks like. It doesn't matter whether or not your parents are there or your mom is at Waffle House and your dad is working at the mill. As long as you have dreams, I mean, you can absolutely do anything. So ask some questions. Let's shoot. Yes.
What dream did you have as a high school student that you might one day be in leadership position like this?
No, I thought I was going to be a doctor because my parents wanted me to be a doctor. I'll tell y'all. Oh, what happened? Oh, everybody. No, I thought I was going to be a doctor. I'll tell you a little known secret about me that I share with young people all the time, but I don't like it spread too much. But I don't do math well. I don't do simple math well. I can do I can put, I can do advanced math, but my results are oftentimes wrong because of the simple fact that I don't do simple math well. The reason I do not do simple math well is because when I was in kindergarten, after Christmas, they put me in first grade. When I came back the next year, they put me in third grade. So I skipped 2 halves and a whole, and therefore I don't do math well. Because all of the grades where you learn simple math, I never picked it up. And then when I was in third grade, I was like learning, 4th and 5th grade stuff. So it never settled on me. And then I just got scared of it. When I was in college, I took like math 99 and math 100. I took like pre-algebra and algebra in college. Seriously.
My name is Evan.
Evan.
What influence did your family have on the leadership ambitions that you've successfully developed?
My family was always there. My mom was in higher education for a long period of time. My dad believed in education. My dad was in the civil rights movement. And the cool thing about education in my family is my dad got arrested February 8, 1968. And in between his arrest and his sentencing, he actually went and got his master's degree from Harvard. So in between his actual, So education is always really big in my family. We all have these little nuances and things that we learn. So.
Bakari, isn't your dad a professor at USC now?
No, he was. My father was director of African American Studies from 1990 until 2008. He's now president of Voorhees College. Yes.
How have you been able to divide your time so effectively between your legislative service and your job as a successful attorney?
I have a great law firm family that allow me to do the things that I'm able to do. Like I'm not in the office this morning because I'm here with you all. But it's very difficult. I don't get a lot of time to myself, and I have to make sure that I stay hydrated and eat and everything. My diet is usually awful because I'm on the road traveling and stuff. And in the words of the great Brooklyn poet, the notorious Big, I will sleep when I die. So I just try to stay out there and do all that I can. All right, I'm going to guess that it's Hannah Jane's turn.
How would you compare the high school education opportunities you had to the opportunities that exist for students today?
We haven't made the progress that I hoped we would have made, and I graduated about 10 years ago. When I went to high school, I actually went to Orangeville Wilkinson because I was kind of young. I was 12 years old when I went to high school. And my parents used to have to drop me off and pick me up and stuff. So I went to Orangeville Wilkinson because my mom worked at South Carolina State. It was a little bit easier for our family. And I live in the country. I don't really live in the city at Durham. But when I went to OW, teachers used to push around carts, and we didn't have stalls on bathroom doors. It was like overcrowded beyond belief at OW. We used to have fights all the time, and we'd be sitting in class, and like the dogs would just come in, and like you'd have to dump out your book bag, like randomly. So I mean, do they do that here?